Hey everyone, it's me, John Lorden, here with a new show. This is one I'm calling BrainScratch. And basically this is something where I'd like to bring up some type of theory or thought and show you a bunch of research on it and ask for your input in terms of comments down below or reply videos or blogs or vlogs or however you see fit to try to help me understand something, because there's so many things that we bump into in this world that I think with more minds we can get a clearer picture of. So today I was watching a YouTube video with, I think it had like the top 10 paranormal photographs or something like that. And it actually kicked into a video sequence on one. And in this video sequence it showed a young Asian girl that was getting into an elevator, and the elevator door would not close, and then she started acting a little weird, almost like someone was following her, or like she just watched someone get in the elevator with her. She kind of stepped off to the side. Then the door still doesn't close, and she kind of looks out down the hall in this quick, weird way, and it kind of goes on from there. It looks like she might be talking to someone that is either off screen or invisible. Very compelling footage. As I did a little more research on YouTube, I was able to find a few videos about her. And her name is Elisa Lam. And actually this turned out to be a murder that happened in the Los Angeles area in early 2013 at a place called the Cecil Hotel, which is kind of notorious. The Night Stalker, if you're familiar with the murderer from the 1980s, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker actually stayed there for an extended period during, I think, about a dozen or even more of his murders. People have committed suicide there. It's close, very close to Skid Row. It's apparently just not a very good place to be. And somehow this 21-year-old Canadian Asian student wound up there on a vacation, and unfortunately it seems like her life ended there. Now, I continued my YouTube investigation and I found a video called Elisa Lam Hoax, and I just watched it just to be sure. Now, first of all, let me say there are tons of news articles about this from all your major media outlets. This story went international, so there's an element of truth that can't be denied about the fact that either a body was found, or at least the event of a body being found in the water tower of that hotel did occur. So, but this hoax video kind of alluded to the fact that maybe the story was drummed up, and it pointed out that it is very similar to a film called Dark Water, which was actually a Japanese horror film in 2002 and was remade in the US in 2005 and stars Jennifer Connelly. And in that film, a young girl winds up, I don't know if she killed herself or being killed, but her body is basically dumped in a water tower of a structure, and the tenants of the structure start noticing because the water that is pouring out of their sinks and everything is dark water. Lot of strange similarities from that story to the actual case, but I also did some other internet investigation on top of it, so I just wanted to unroll all of what I've found today for you guys and hopefully add to the conversation and entice you to take a look at it for yourself, because this is a very odd case. If you're someone that enjoys like the show Disappeared, or murder mysteries and things like that, this should really grab your attention. And there is just this feeling of kind of sadness because, unfortunately this is not fiction, but the way that it crosses into fiction with some of the similarities is striking, almost striking enough that you could start looking at it as a conspiracy theory in certain ways. So let's take a look. First of all, I'm going to put links for a few of the videos that I found, including the Elisa Lam hoax video, right down in the description, so you can go ahead and check that one out for yourself. Let me just give you a heads up. That one is shot as a straight conspiracy theory video. It's very slanted, it's not very objective, however the questions it raised were still enough to get me to want to look more and look into this further, and there's a couple of dead ends I hit that I think are kind of odd, to be quite honest. As I've mentioned, Dark Water, you can also check out, I believe there is a full version of it on YouTube. I don't know why, I don't think that's legal, but you can at least see the trailer there. It's already available on DVD and all those formats. You could probably get it streaming somehow. So there is the film Dark Water, and remember that it's remade from a Japanese film from 2002. This is the Tumblr account of Elisa, and something strange happened with this in that apparently there were updates to it after she passed, and this kind of caused a few reporters concern. There seemed like there was an actual blog post that was added to it about 6 months after her death. I couldn't find an individual post from her in that time period, but I did see a significant amount of other activity that looks like reposts of other people's messages. Now, I'm not a Tumblr user, so I don't know if there is some automatic trigger mechanism where maybe she has a list of favorite friends and some kind of keywords that will trigger that to repost on her account. But I did see things reposted as recently as December 2013, which is almost a year after she died, which I did think was pretty interesting. Her last written post is right here. I have arrived in, I think she was meaning La La Land, but she wrote La Land. And there is a monstrosity of a building next to the place I'm staying. When I say monstrosity, mind you, I'm saying it as in gaudy. But then again, it was built in 1928, hence the Art Deco theme. So yes, it is classy, but then since it's LA, it went on crack. Honestly, from the social media that I see that she's written, this was a sharp person with a great sense of humor. She seemed to like the Colbert Report, some other things that I also like. Once again, adds an element of sadness, but also raises a question for me that we'll get to a bit later when we're reviewing her Twitter account. As a matter of fact, this case is now spawning a new movie that is going to be called The Bringing, and apparently it's got the director of Drive and a producer from American History X that are behind that, so it sounds like it's going to be a major feature, so I'm pretty sure you're going to hear about even more about this case in the very near future. So if you do a Google or DuckDuckGo, which is a way cooler search than Google, if you do a search on Elisa Lam or the Cecil Hotel, you will find a ton of different blogs that are talking about this. Here is one that's just kind of pointing out at the end of their article, what the heck happened to her? Is this just a straight up murder? Is it some kind of occult thing? Is it a conspiracy? Is it a cover-up to hide a new strain of TB? What's curious about that is when she stayed there, there was some kind of outbreak of tuberculosis in the Skid Row area close to where she was staying. And the test for that is called the Lam Elisa. And her name is Elisa Lam. So that's something that is, it's very strange in my mind. You know, anyone that is watching modern Hollywood can see that there's very little original thought, right? I mean, we're rebooting Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones. They're taking every good idea they can from the recent past and trying to regurgitate it. Uncreative writers, and even great writers, do that a lot. So there is something about this case with the fact that she's named the same as the tuberculosis test that just kind of itches in my brain a little bit and makes me wonder about her identity. If maybe there is a false front being put up for this Elisa Lam identity that is actually covering up that she could be an agent for the CIA or something, which I saw on one of these other conspiracy pages. There are tons of people theorizing in all kinds of different ways because there's a lot of stuff about this case that just doesn't seem to make sense. Right here, CIA, mind control, Canadian involvement, social engineering. Of course, the dreaded Illuminati even comes up. The only thing missing from here is the lizard people that David Icke talks about. I think what is strangest about the details of this case, and I'm going to leave a link down there that will also show you in the description, some of the news coverage so you can see what the official word is on this case. The hardest thing to believe about it is the access to the water towers, which apparently you had to go through a locked door that also had a trigger alarm on it so that the staff would know if anyone went through it, or you could have used the fire escape to get up on the roof, which is dangerous and a little strange. But once you got to the actual water towers, they are 8 feet tall, and I believe they're also on risers, so it's probably more like 9 to 10 feet. She would have had to scale on top of it, open a metal grating that apparently is very hard for one person to open, usually takes 2 people to open, get in it, and then close it on top of herself, which is that's probably the most unbelievable point, because I don't believe that that metal door has a handle on the inside, at least not from the few pictures that I've seen of it. It's very strange. Something I want to bring up here about this concept that I have about this potentially being a false front for a different murder, essentially. Her Instagram is right here, and I know that there is an industry of people on Twitter specifically that create fake accounts, and they do that so that they can slip you advertising. Quite frequently you'll be followed by someone that is young and attractive, and all of a sudden you go look at their Twitter stream and they're telling you how you can buy more Twitter users or pushing products left and right. They don't always seem like a real person. One of the things I look at is their pictures. Do they post pictures of themselves? Because quite frequently on these accounts that I found to be fake, you will only have the main photo of them as themselves, and sometimes they will post photos of themselves that you can tell are not the same person, but most of the time they avoid that altogether. One of the things I found about her social media is no pictures of herself. Now, I didn't check her Facebook, but I've checked her Instagram, her Tumblr account, and her Twitter, and there are 0 pictures of herself, which is kind of strange for a 21-year-old nowadays. You know, everyone knows what a selfie is. I'm coming up on being 40, and hey, I've got selfies of myself all over the place. So it just strikes me as a little bit odd, and once again raises a question for me. As you can see here, she only had 37 posts. All of these look like stock photography to me. Some of them have filters that seem like stock photography to me, and a few of them even seem like they're taken from much older cameras, like they're older pictures from a cell phone that's maybe 5 to 7 years old. Of course, everyone loves taking pictures of her feet. That's the only thing that I could find that is supposedly pictures of her, but once again, very easy to fake. And in this case, we do have a body shot where the head is literally cut off, which just strikes me as extremely odd. That's it for her Instagram account. Now we get to her Twitter page, and first of all, I'm not even sure if that's a picture of her or just art that she liked. Once again, no photos here showing her, any family members, her car, anything like that. Considering that she was on vacation coming to Los Angeles and supposedly in San Diego before that, I'm very surprised there aren't pictures of the vacation actually happening here. You know, here's what I saw today, here's where I was. Her posts on Tumblr speak about some things that happened around that. You know, her telling a guy that she liked him, her trying to get to SeaWorld to visit it. But once again, absolutely no photos for a 21-year-old college student. Kind of strange. What else is also strange, what struck me strange about her Twitter account is the actual narrative going on in it. You can usually feel a person's specific way of speaking and get a sense for who they are by reading through their Twitter feed. This Twitter feed, quite honestly, feels like I could have written it. It feels like it could have been written by a guy very, very easily. There's nothing particularly feminine about it. Like I said, it mentions, like Jon Stewart. It has some references to things that are kind of, I believe, a little bit of an older generation than the age that is being portrayed, but I can't say for sure. Maybe she was just, very mature for her age. Something else I did find strange are a couple of accounts that she speaks to are, one in particular is suspended. So the conversation chains I can't even see there. A few of the other accounts she speaks to, the usernames have been converted to all numbers. and I'm really not sure what causes that to happen. One of them looked like it was in a foreign language, so that might make sense if the font can't be converted for English, but it happened on more than one account, which is kind of odd to me. I did find one user that spoke to her seemed to be friendly with her. This guy, Tim Chan. And Tim Chan, it states here, is an editor-producer in Los Angeles. And when I clicked around, he has a link here. Apparently he's the editor of Corduroy magazine, I guess. You do get a page for Corduroy magazine, although I'm not quite sure if it's all real. It does look real. It has an article posted here, and you can see there are back issues that you can order. However, all of the links down here for home, about, issues, blog, and contact, all those links just refer back to this same page, and that's usually something I see when a web page has been faked or just designed very badly. Basically, there is no contact information here except for the guy that's supposedly the webmaster, whose name is Joey Dennert. Just once again, very strange. My gut is telling me if I needed to fake this Twitter account, if I had the ability to modify Twitter's time tags, I could probably generate as much content as she did in a way that's similar to that is written here within a day, 2 days tops. Just once again, there's something in me that's itching about this identity not seeming quite complete. That being said, there are pictures of her in the mainstream press. I don't know if they got those from her Twitter account, but you'll mostly only see 2 or 3 of the same photo over and over. I think we've got one. Here's a piece of one right here. I had this other concept. I was wondering what it would take for someone to stage what looked like a crime investigation and to fool the media. And there are, what you can see are a few photos of, it looks like firefighters on the roof. Part of the story is that apparently the hatch that she used to get in wasn't enough for them to get her out, so they actually had to cut the top of the water tower, which once again just sounds strange in terms of a story. The photos that I saw also look like there are reporters around them, which I don't believe happens anymore. I know back in the day reporters used to be able to access scenes like that, but something that's deemed a crime scene, I don't believe you have reporters there. And it kind of, quite honestly, if I was going to stage it, it looked like something I could easily stage. You know, hire 5 to 10 firefighters, actors, and give me 3 to 4, maybe they were supposed to be investigators, you know, walking around with notepads and cameras. If you did that and you kept the press at bay across the street, let's say, I think you could generate what looked enough like the real thing. I mean, hey, we're in Hollywood. You could rent a frickin' fire truck if you want. I think you could generate the look enough. And if you had a PR person that was supposedly a detective going down and talking to the press, I think it's feasible that you could fool the big mainstream media outlet, and once you get a few of them fooled, you know, others just really reproduce that information over and over on the internet. So that is also kind of clicking around in my mind, and around that is this lieutenant, Fred Corral, who is apparently the lieutenant for the coroner's department. What I found interesting about Fred when I did a search on him is he does have a LinkedIn profile with 0 connections and no information filled out about what school he went to. It just literally says his rank and where he works. I thought that was kind of strange, so I did a little more looking into Fred. And if you do a search on Fred, you will actually see he is quoted quite often in many instances that happen around the Los Angeles area. So I believe Fred is real, at least. But I did think that LinkedIn thing was just a little odd, that you would have his name and title only be on his profile. One of the other things that's odd about Fred's reporting of this is he is stating that her being bipolar is a contributor to this situation. And as far as I know, there is no blood test and no forensic way to determine that someone is bipolar. So I'm wondering why the coroner is reporting something that is more in the line of detective work. There have also been a couple of promises for a toxicology report to be released that I can't find any reference to. I can find reference that it's about to be released, but I can't find the actual results of that being spoken about. It is possible that they found something that they didn't want to release, although her medical information in terms of her prescriptions has already been released, which I believe was Wellbutrin and Lamictal. So it's kind of odd to me that the coroner didn't at least pipe up and say, you know, we can verify that she wasn't having a bad LSD trip, and that's why it looked like she was, you know, speaking to an invisible person in the elevator. Even if she was having some kind of bad drug trip like that, how did she open the top of that container, put herself in the water, and close that container? Just to get in it, it's an 8-foot tank. So once you're in it, how could she have stood on something to try to close the door? It literally, it boggles my mind. And that's why I wanted to shoot this and kind of put it out there to you. Here's a lot of what I found today. It's not quite everything, but it just seems that if this was a jigsaw puzzle, we've got pieces that aren't fitting this picture very well. And in any way that you look at it, it's a very sad case, unless it's the scenario I gave you where it's Hollywood spin. The Hotel Cecil has now rebranded itself. It's now called Stay on Main, but it is included in tours in terms of being a place that is a crime scene. There was a murder that happened there also. And we all know that the ghost industry has popped. We have several shows. We have Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures. There would be some people that could say that you would make more money if something like this occurred there recently, especially considering that the Night Stalker really isn't as popular or scary as that thought once was, especially now that he's dead. So does someone have to gain from faking a death up there? Yes, absolutely. Do I think that the death was faked up there? If they did, they duped the media in an amazing way, and I believe it would have had to include the lieutenant coroner partaking in some type of conspiracy. There's that big word that makes everyone shy away again. My gut is telling me no. However, like I said with the social profiles, I don't know that this is the person. It just doesn't seem to me, it doesn't seem authentic to me that that Twitter profile is real, that somehow her Tumblr account is being updated. There's a couple of strange things at play here, and that's why I think this deserves more attention. It deserves people to keep looking into it and asking questions, and I hope that you will do the same and maybe do some searching yourself. If you find something interesting, go ahead and drop me a comment and let me know, and maybe we will follow up on it and do another video. And in any case, my heart goes out to her family, of course. Apparently, I did see a news story that they are suing the Cecil Hotel, but it was one reference in the Huffington Post. And would it be easy to fake something like that when you're taking information that's from an entirely different country, being Canada? Also worth noting, one of the interviews that I saw was by a couple that was staying in the hotel. They supposedly tasted the water and were reporting that something was wrong with the water, and they are both from England, so in terms of them being good pieces of evidence, once things go out of the country, I think it gets a little loose and it's easier to slip in deception in my eyes. So it is truly a brain scratch, and I hope, if nothing else, you've enjoyed spending some time with me to review all this stuff. Please give me that thumbs up or give me the thumbs down, either way you feel about the video. Drop a comment if you have some opinion on how we can make it better, or especially if you have some input on what could be going on here. And if you don't know for sure, do some searches. Take a look at this. It really deserves attention. All right? Hope you have a great day, and I will catch you on the next Brain Scratch.